discussion of that vital topic. You're on.
Hello, everybody. Can you see the shared screen?
We can see it. If you're not talking, you should be muted, Dave.
Right. Okay. Rather than going into forth details, I thought I'd give a more general speech about how I came to do all these books and publish them on there. And when I prepared this speech, I suddenly realized that it covers 40 years or more. It all started when I did my first job, really, and that was designing systems for the electricity companies. And there was the requirement for doing a system that's battery operated data collection. And the only processor that's available at the time was the CDP 1802 from RCA that probably quite a few of you might remember. So I went to the workshop for a week, learned all about it, and it seems I left a very good impression. I came back to my job and suddenly got a phone call for an interview to work at RCA, which was quite a surprise to me. But nevertheless, I went to the interview in Brussels, which was, from my knowledge, related to a job in Hamburg, and found out there, after a wonderful interview and the job offer, that sorry, the job in Hamburg is taken. You either go to Brussels or there's nothing for you. Actually, it was a bit of a funny situation to sit in Brussels for the first time and then have to take a decision there and then. I thought I can't lose, so I took the job. This basically started 5 years of 1802 support and the first book. One of the problems I found out there is that there was not much material that people could distribute, and there was no internet at the time, so it was printed only. So I sat down and collected all the information I could find within the company, and on there, and suddenly there was a book. And by the way, cut and paste at the time was actually glue and scissors, no electronics. And you see the book up there, top right, RCA 1800, the BMP 802, Brussels microprocessor book. And that was basically how my book knowledge started. While we were distributing that to all the customers, I suddenly had a very nice experience that one of the distributors I was supporting gave me a very nice present as a thank you, and that was this one. You probably recognize it. It's actually in plastic because it's completely fallen apart. But there we are, my first relation to Forth at the time. That was the time when Microforth was ported to the 1802. Unfortunately, I wasn't involved there, but that's my recollection. And looking back now, I might have supported Forth people without actually knowing about it. But the time in Brussels changed, and I went back to Munich, did there at Hitachi a lot of documents, printing, press releases, press conferences, and all of that. And then it ended up later at Mixed Mode, and that's where it started with Forth More. Mixed Mode was a design house who did a lot of VHDL support for companies like Infineon. A lot of their processors probably have chunks of mixed mode knowledge in it. But there we are. I was there as sales and marketing manager and was trying to find things that I could use to convince customers of our knowledge, and ended up falling about an article about a MISC processor. So a minimum risk processor. It only had one instruction and there was move from A to B. I convinced my guys to do an implementation of that in VHDL, and it was running on a lattice chip and was actually fine. And at the time, there was somebody in fourth working at the company, not doing any fourth, but it was Bernd Pezan in Munich, and he actually, with some other guys, ported a fourth to this processor. So there we are, a first start. I use it in conferences, in customer meetings, and so on. And it was very interesting to see the eyes light up of customers or engineers who were not really involved, or sorry, who were not really used of seeing IP. But things change, and I end up in the UK selling from the product line of MSC, which was microprocessors and loads of other stuff. And one of the good contacts always for new projects for microprocessors is going to design houses. And so I went to see one company that all of you probably knew, MPE, Stephen Pelk. And we started a relationship. And that was in 1974. No, sorry, at 2013. Sorry, that was another time. And basically then, MSC was sold to Avnet, and not a lot of people were taking over. So I started doing consultancy for different companies. And one of them, funnily enough, was MPE, Stephen Pelk. I was there for 5 years, paid as a consultant and doing work. And there again, I saw that there was not enough documentation available to help people. There were some books, but not enough and not many examples. So I started collecting information and doing PDFs. And one of the first one was this one. You probably all know about it. It's starting fourth. I got the okay from Fourth Inc. to publish it first as a PDF. And then I thought about, well, make it more attractive to people and try to have it printed. And what I found out then was the cheapest way of doing things was on Amazon, because you could do it all yourself. It was just time involved. So I went around, talked to quite a few people, got their okay regarding the copyrights to have it printed, and started my work.
No.
And how should that work? It was one of the things was money, obviously. I had to invest quite a bit of my time to do it. Did a simple calculation, and it came out that each book cost me about $1,500 or more in investment, and I would never know if I would get it back. So the deal with all the people that I published was very simple. I do the work, they get the book, and I might get some of the money back that I have invested. I started, obviously, with the important ones, the first one being the early years. It's so small, it's only there as ebook. But then, more importantly, programming a problem-oriented language. Charles allowed me to do it, which was very kind. And as well, starting fourth. But fourth, unfortunately, only allowed to do the ebook version. So it's only there as ebook and not as print book. Then again, more examples needed. That was more or less trying to support MPE, and you can see Stephen Pelk on the Fourth Light tutorial. I spent quite a bit of time expanding these examples and actually trying them out, and it was quite a bit of fun. So that ended up with the fourth light tutorial. And then the next one, I turned it on its head and asked people if they could supply material that I could use to have a new book. And that's called actually Start with Fourth. And if you look at the picture, you can see myself, and a bit hidden is actually my wife. We had a flight on a balloon, so I used that as a cover sheet. Well, fourth was always of interest, and so I tried to have something in hardware as well, and that came to Ting's Fig Fourth manual, where I convinced Steve Teal to write a little 1802 processor, not completely functional, but good enough to run Fig Fourth and running and have it and see it all doing things in hardware on an FPGA. And there we are. Next was the nice book of for Brad. He actually liked the book very much and has it on his website. And a few more books. Real-time Fourth was too difficult for me, so I just made it a book and published it. And IPS, I don't know how many people know about this. That's the AMSAT story, where Fourth was used together with the AMSAT satellites, which now leads to quite a lot of the ones that have been done with Dr. Ting. He was very happy that all of the work that he had done got available for other people. So you can see Arduino and eForth. That's running on a good old Arduino. Footsteps in an Empty Valley, and that's regarding the NC4000. EP32, his own VHDL processor. eForth overview. There's a funny thing, and you can actually see the whole of the software. I don't know how well you can see it, but that's all the Fourth software on there. And I unfortunately haven't seen it running on a processor recently, but somebody here might take the time to have it done. So basically, that covers, and I don't want to go into more detail. And as a last thing, I just want to show, oops, hang on, where are you? Yes, that's 25 VFX, 22 times VFX running Fourth on an MSP 430-2553. That was the processor of choice many, many years ago, and that was before Arduino and Raspberry Pi. So I think that's all I want to say today. Thank you very much for your time. Any questions?
I remember there was a fourth book. I can't keep them all straight. There was a fourth book that kind of talked about context in fourth words and stuff, and this might become more important with the artificial intelligence and stuff. But all the fourth books had very interesting ideas. One of them was, a context of a word, and it wasn't quite explored. But fourth books often explored interesting things.
I haven't seen that. The only thing I really regret that Fourth never got into AI or neural nets, which I can't understand, but it seems there was just no interest, which is unfortunate.
Well, we'll talk a little bit, I think, about AI a little later. Don is certainly rabid about it.
I definitely look forward to doing AI in Cozy, where you can write the algorithms at the APL array level, but map them to whatever hardware you have uniquely in Fourth. Actually, I even taught some classes in associative memory back in the 70s. So the very, very early stuff I know, but I have to have motivation to go and work through it. Love to, if somebody wants to work through the basic algorithms, I'm up for it.
I have a question, if I may.
Sure.
Yeah, given your perspective in publishing, where do you see the biggest market for Forth? Or what's your view on the market?
Well, to tell you quite frankly, I think I'm the wrong person to ask this. I did these books at the time mostly, or started doing it to support MPE because they paid me as a consultant. So I tried to help with getting documentation ready. One of the things I don't understand about Forth is there's no real group that does applications or hardware. I don't know why not, but it seems it's more important to do the 250th Forth implementation, which is better than any others, which means the others are bad, which I don't understand. Because if I look at all the other languages, what you can see there is one language and probably slight deviations, but the rest of the time is spent to use this for applications. And in Forth, it unfortunately seems not to work.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'd like to thank Juergen for his excellent presentation and for his work to bring us all of this knowledge and all of the stories.
Well, I'm looking forward to see the video and add more links there, because I think that's the important bit, to see things and have the chance to go to see them.
So you're going to put
Thank you
links
very
on
much for your time.
you're going to put links in the YouTube video comments?
Yeah.
Maybe we can pin them if it's going to be one comment. If you can, Brad,
Yep.
hello, Brad. Is that something you can pin at the top
I don't
of
know that I can pin a comment, but I can make it part of the description if that's useful.
after the fact, like in a week or two?
Yes, you can edit the descriptions.
All right, Juergen, get in touch with Brad.
Okay.
He'll make sure that that is featured in a prominent place. I think that's all to the good. The goal is to stir the pot somewhat in that regard. So it's time for the. Why'd you unshare, Juergen?
Thank
Unshare
you.
your screen. Thank you so much. Unshare your screen now, and this is our monthly screenshot. The group photo is always something I relish. It's nice to have a record of who was here. Juergen, you need to unshare your screen now.
Sorry, I
Click a second time on the share button.
I can't find the. Hang on.
So anyway, as I was
Can't
saying,
find it. Oh yes, here it is. Stop share.
so if you're on the lam or you don't want your picture published, either turn off your camera or you can log out briefly. So Brad will tell us when he's done screenshotting. In the meantime,
All right.
you know, I'm optimistic, so hope for the best and look your best now for the next 30 seconds. That's sort of the error bars around when this is actually going to happen.
All right, I got it.
Thank you so much, Brad. Thank you. All right. Jack Ware used to live in the Bay Area, published in certain computer tabloid, we won't say rags, but let's not overstate their import. Uh, and has written and thought and worked in the computer field. He has presented to us about quantum computing for these many years in the aftermath of the year, late in the year or early in the year. So for all of those, it is only when